Let's say the worst happens and somehow someone is pointing a weapon at you. What would you do in such a tense situation? Well, there are many techniques you can use to defend yourself against weapons, but all of them are quite dangerous. First, you should assess the situation to see whether you can reduce the threat in other ways. It's best to get professional self-defense training, but if you haven't, here are some of the best self-defense techniques against weapons. Method 1. Taking the gun from the attacker. Be aware that your goal in a situation like this is to save your life. Fighting back greatly increases your odds of losing your life. If you're not trained by the police, military, or endured extensive martial arts training, the safest option when faced with an attacker with a weapon is to do whatever the opponent says, with the exception of entering into a vehicle with the attacker. You're gambling with your life in such a dreadful situation. It's not a movie scene going on, and in most cases, the attacker will have more experience than you in this kind of situation. In cases like these, the most common mistake made by potential victims is overconfidence. Overconfidence leads to the vast majority of deaths. Fighting back is the second most common mistake. However, there are times when you need to calculate doing so. 2. Grab their arm at the wrist. When you feel you need to disarm the attacker because you've no other option and it's likely that you'll be shot otherwise, spin the gun away from you. However, this technique is very dangerous, so do not attempt this unless absolutely necessary. Your aim should be to make sure the weapon is pointed away from your body as you grab it and spin it away. Continue the energy you've created by twisting the arm with the gun around you to the right as you face away from where the criminal was originally positioned. Now, flip the gunman to the ground as you spin to the right while holding the gunman's arm. Keep your hand on the attacking arm and take the weapon away from the attacker. The other thing you can do is step over the gunman and hold his arm with your leg. 3. Grab the weapon directly from the hand. Twist the gun down, breaking the opponent's finger as you do it. Remember, his finger will be in the trigger. Twist the weapon down to the right. These movements can be really dangerous if your rival is stronger than you, and also risk the gun firing and striking other people in the surrounding. Snatch the gun from the opponent's wounded hand. Use the right hand to stop the wrist as you use the left hand to bend their wrist, grab the weapon, and push it down. This is pretty important. If you're unable to grab their wrist before twisting the gun down, you may risk them maintaining control of the gun, which can be dangerous to your life. Humans only grab one way, with their thumb and forefingers. When the grip is primarily based on the thumb, a twisting motion against the thumb with leverage or attacking the thumb with an elbow strike can break the grip. 4. Disarm the gun pointed at your back. Turn around, step in under their arm, and rip the gun out of the attacker's hand. Here are 2 steps of which you could do either. First, you'll want to twist the gun in your rival's hand, breaking their finger. Second, just rip the gun out of his hand. Move your left hand to the side of the attacker's gun and at the same time, move your body to the opponent's right side. Before you do this, wave your hands as if surrendering and saying, "Don't shoot." After moving your left hand to the side of the attacker's gun, take a right counterclockwise circular step in between the attacker's feet while turning the gun toward the opponent. You must make sure that your wrist should lock the opponent's right hand and turn the gun at the attacker's throat, bringing the rival to the ground. In each of these moves, the goal is to reposition the gun before twisting it from the gunman's hand. 5. Control the weapon. You must make sure to have control of the weapon so the gunman cannot direct it at you. This will unload fast and the opponent will try to regain control. Burst in forward. Put your weight inward and downward on the gun. To limit the ability of the opponent to move it, try to get the weapon down and inward. Move your feet to keep putting weight on the weapon no matter how the gunman reacts. To torque the opponent's wrist to take him down, use your hip muscles and body weight. In one move, put a huge amount of pressure on the attacker's wrist, forcing him down to the ground while having a strong control of the weapon. To remove the weapon, you can kick your rival to the head, groin, or midsection. What else you can do is to reach over the attacker's shoulder and clench the rifle's buttstock. To grasp the weapon's stock, insert your right hand with your thumb pointing towards the ground. Yank the weapon towards you to weaken the attacker's leverage and yank it shortly up. Wrench the weapon away. Method 2. Throwing the armed man off. 1. Raise your hands and act scared and passive. If you don't challenge the attacker, maybe he won't harm you. If your aim is to disarm the opponent, you need to act passive and deferential at first to throw them off too. Ideally, all you need to do is comply, and you will not have to attempt anything risky. Act cooperative and as passive as possible. Say something like, "Hey, don't worry, I don't want any trouble." Give the attacker the impression you are not a threat. Raise your arms higher than the handgun, but make sure you don't keep them still. To lull the attacker's peripheral vision, wave your hands side by side in a repetitive manner and hide the defensive movement you're about to make by moving your hands forward. 2. Get arm's length from the weapon. In one swift move, turn your head first and grab a hold of the weapon. Turn the weapon away from your body and turn the gunman's wrist in. Distract the attacker with a kick or punch. Beware of where the barrel is pointed. Reach under the weapon, placing your free hand on the hammer. Make sure to keep both your hands on the gun as you kick or knee the gunman. With the gunman's wrist twisted and both of your hands firmly on the gun, rip the gun away. 3. Once you have the weapon, take steps back. Now that the weapon is in your hands, the best for you is to get away without having to fire it. Flee with the weapon. If the attacker keeps coming at you, inspect the gun with your hands by tapping the bottom of the magazine to be sure it's in. Try to draw attention. Scream, shout, and make noise. Hopefully, the gunman will run away. Again, the goal is to not have to fire the gun. Learn the self-defense laws. If you're in immediate danger of death or great bodily harm, you're entitled to defend yourself. 4. Remain calm. This is very important. Make sure you do not show panic because this might make the person with the gun panic, which can be pretty dangerous. To retain a psychological advantage, make eye contact with the gunman. This might force him or her to see you as a human being and might make it harder to shoot you. However, do not make this an intimidating or challenging gaze. Best martial arts for self-defense against weapons. People often ask which martial arts are the best when it comes to self-defense against weapons. Well, the answer is not that straightforward. I mean, to perfectly cover and defend yourself against an attacker aiming a gun at your face, you need to have skills and expertise in different martial arts at the same time. Marksmanship is one of the best martial arts of self-defense against a person with a weapon that means harm. This art will allow you to stop an attacker before they are near. Should the need arise, marksmanship can also be used to fend oneself meat. Have you ever seen someone karate up some dinner? Doesn't happen that often, does it? The non-traditional martial arts are the best in this category, and Krav Maga is the most obvious of these. This fighting technique is highly effective in disarming weapon-carrying attackers and working on hand-eye coordination. Krav Maga brings together multiple techniques from other martial arts for self-defense purposes. If you face a situation where you have to fight back against the attacker, then combat sports like MMA, striking, or grappling would certainly help. However, as said earlier, no martial art covers self-defense against a weapon completely. You need to have knowledge and skills of different fighting techniques in such scenarios, and trainers also need to understand this. All serious training should acknowledge we live in mixed martial arts and a mixed weapons world. Here are some things you need to learn when training for self-defense against weapons. 1. Tactical shooting. This is why guns exist, so I don't have to fight Brock Lesnar's even more evil twin on PCP with a knife in hand. Not just shooting at paper targets, but basic marksmanship and weapons function, shooting at moving targets, and then some force training against armed adversaries. 2. Combative training. This includes Filipino martial arts or Krav Maga, which teaches the use of knife and impact weapons, and how to counter and retain, clear, and recover a firearm. 3. A decent level of cardio and mobility to be able to break contact in an armed encounter as needed to seek equal terms or escape. That was it for this video, guys. Don't forget to mention your thoughts in the comments section, and if you have any other tips about defending against a weapon that I missed, kindly share them with the community. Lastly, if you enjoyed our video, press the like button and subscribe to our channel for more combat and sporty videos. See you in the next one.